and you won't even believe it. But we've got a lot of great things going for us. Glimmer, or Kathy Zurn, who works for the Artery, will be talking in a little bit. And she's going to talk about the process line for burner art. But the highlight of the evening is Lisa Ferguson of Mr. and Mrs. Ferguson Art. They built the Penny Bears and a lot of other things you've seen on the playa. Let's do a quick survey, make sure we know who's in the room here. Raise your hand if you consider yourself an artist. All the hands go up. All the hands go up. Good. Raise your hand if you've been to Burning Man. Raise your hand if you're familiar with Burning Man. Raise your hand if you have no idea where we are. Okay. So Burning Man embraces both the big art and the small art. So I don't want people to walk away and think that the large items on the playa that are placed and that are climbable and that are huge are the only part of the art of Burning Man. The goal of Burning Man is to inspire us all to be artists and to embrace our artist selves, from the clothes you wear to how you style your hair to whatever. The goal is to be your most authentic self and express that through everything. But this conversation will mostly focus on placed art at Burning Man. Wanted to talk briefly about what is burner art, and we use the phrase burner loosely so we don't get sued by Burning Man. But I wanted to make sure that we sort of have a little bit of conversation so we understand what the aesthetics or difference or what makes Burning Man art Burning Man art. And I imagined at this point this would be at the panel, and I've got Glimmer, and I've got Lisa, and I've got Seamus, who's our host. He'll be in and out, but we're at the M5, or we're at the Wearhouse Artist Loft, thanks to Seamus. One of the things that that Burning Man aspires to is art that's participatory, and that's really one of the biggest differences from art that is you think about in galleries, and the goal is to make it more about participation and communication and a collective experience, and less about creating value and creating a worth to the piece. I wanted to open it up and share. Anybody else have any thoughts about what is different about burner art? Anyone?
It's dusty.
It's dusty.
It's a harsher environment.
Right. It's not. There's no walls, and you're going to have to deal with wind. You're going to have to deal with electrical issues.
People climb on it. If
they see it, it looks like it's climbable. They may try to climb your thing. So there's definitely things that you need to sort of take into account, and that's got to deal with heat. You may have to deal with cold.
It's also temporary, so it doesn't have to last that long. It doesn't have to deal with
It's durable. Most of the times it's assembled in situ.
Yeah, you may have to assemble it on site. You may have to figure out how you're going to get it there. You have to figure out how you're going to get it back. So there's a lot to think about when
You can't buy it.
But what you're getting at is that there's value in doing it yourself, and that the more authentically constructed it is, the better. So those are some of the thoughts we have about defining what burner art is. We're going to switch the presentation here. We're going to get to Lisa Ferguson. She's going to talk about her path to making art, and this is really the nitty-gritty of it. And then we'll come back. Glimmer will talk about the process of applying for a Burning Man art. Then we'll have a little bit of talk about some of the local efforts, and then we'll wrap the evening up, if we're still alive, with talking about our efforts to place art locally, and a preview on that. We've already got some money coming in, so things are going well on that front. So again, thank you for coming. We're going to do a quick changeover to put a different computer on, and then Lisa is going to take it away.
Thank you for waiting. Thank you. Do we think we can get this one on? Or is there enough cable?
HDMI.
Yes, I do.
Sweet. Do you want to use that?
Yeah, I'm going to run off my drive.
Where's your HDMI cord connector?
Oh, right here? Sorry.
Cool, third party. And then you control it from there.
Perfect.
It's on the screen.
Let's see, is it the...
How do you hide your screen, DQ, so we can see the projector?
Oh, yeah, source, excuse me.
It's okay. You want to mess around with your stuff first?
Perfect. No, it should just.
Yeah, it'll find it.
I'm searching for source.
Let's see some performance art, Lisa. Come on, we saw you
Sure.
over here.
Shall I get the poi out?
Yeah, there you go.
Did you? Yeah, you somehow hit the wrong side. Or did you take it out?
I just took it out for a sec to see, yeah, give it a, I had to do this the other day with something.
Yeah, that would be a good. Yeah, see, this is not. It's fine.
Is the computer even set to mirror to the HDMI?
I think so. I had it, I was using it just the other day for, I was using it the other day for such a purpose.
It's searching for you, but everything's activated. It should
Yeah.
work straight across.
Well, let's see.
And all you gotta just press search here and then center.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because I don't have control of the laptop anymore. Let's see. Let's do that. Well, let's just restart it and see if something comes out of it.
It's blank there because that's this beginning of the presentation.
Now I'm restarting it.
Either way, it should be mirroring whatever you have. Oh, you're restarting the computer.
Yeah. Well, chat amongst yourselves. Well, I'll talk while we get some of this going. We'll kind of go back and forth. Maybe I can do that.
Usually like just one of the functions here, like this one, or
Perhaps so, but
it says like which computer you're using, right? So that you're, you see what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
No.
it switches it to have actually mirror it to the output as opposed to just on the screen.
Yeah, but I was pressing those buttons and nothing
What about,
happened.
but you have to do, not just, you have to put options or something.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I'm gonna
I just
switch to
don't
a
know.
different HDMI cable.
But you did it before, right?
I did before, but I didn't have that problem. It just
Okay.
went on automatically.
Just went
So
automatic.
yeah.
Um, function. Let's try this.
There we go.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
it's when I had to switch it is what I did.
very good.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, no, so I'll just put the presentation back on again and we'll pretend that nothing happened. Hey. All right. Like nothing happened. So, I'm Lisa Ferguson, and I'm the other half of my other half, Mr. Ferguson, Robert Ferguson, couldn't be here because he runs a welding company, and he has to be there till the end of the day, and because the guys will probably nail their heads to the tables if he's not there sometimes. So, it's a lot of stuff. I live in Alameda, and our shop is in Hayward, and my husband's shop is. Is a welding shop that his father started, so it's rather large, and it affords us the ability to build really cool projects, which is helpful because space anywhere in California, I understand, is pretty difficult, to build big things. I'm originally from Calgary, Canada, and I met Robert at Burning Man in 2008, and we got married 3 years later. We're nerds. This is the man on my ring and his ring as well. We were married. This is our marriage ceremony on Playa under a piece of art that we built. Under just two roses. I was still living in Canada when we built it, and we just sort of I come down and fly down and work on stuff, and then again, he's got a welding shop. They work in steel. It's great. We hired a photographer, or someone we knew who could do that for us. So yeah. And come on, next photo, please. All good things come. Sorry, guys. It was just one of those moments that it was supposed to work because I have the whole thing. Yeah. This is not a project via. Darn it. Sorry, guys. This is not a project that was given to us by Burning Man where you get funding. This was self-funded. I'm going to have to unplug the HDMI. Sorry. Well, I'm afraid that the arrow doesn't work. So I'm just going to have to just cue it up again and find out. Darn it. I'm sorry, guys.
When I tried to do my presentation, the battery on my computer died. Paper slide.
I'm just gonna.
We're not in a dust storm.
I'm just going to restart
I've been around
it.
people
Not,
doing tech, and it got better over the years. People putting better containers out for the fans, better systems for the projectors.
Here, we had such poor shade coverage and artery, we were literally shoving the iPads up our shirts to cool them down because they were overheating all the time. That was when our body temperature was cooler than the actual ambient air. It's crazy.
I thought that's some return.
Now we should tell dust stories. I remember sitting in Media Mecca around 06 or 07. We used to get some really big dust storms. And the storms were so bad, wearing goggles, masks, and watching the dust grow on the tables.
Wow.
Just watching things getting covered and staying there for shelter. Haven't had major dust storms for a while.
I remember you took your goggles off and your mask off and you would just look like a cloud.
So your lives don't, your sound's on.
all right.
That helps a lot.
So you have recording on.
But it's that, it really doesn't. I remember looking for shelter and then hiding, and once I found a coffin, and there were a few of us that went into it. It was part of an art installation as the storm was rolling by.
We built one of those coffins in our backyard.
I designed a coffin. It's a goth coffin, and we call it the coffin.
A life way. A life way.
Never realized you.
And it had lasers, you use it, and it's just.
I'm really sorry. We had it, but when I reset everything, I lost everything I was doing. Dang it. I'll try and do it on this program here.
Just trying to find the right.
Well, preview, no. Preview is, no, please.
Second Saturday, we said, y'all, and we could get Loft.
There we go. We're gonna run it off this one. So we'll plug this in. Hopefully it'll come on and recognize it. There we go. Yes. All right. Where we're at. Yeah, so it was a lovely wedding, and again, like I was saying before, we were doing self-funded art. This is our second piece of self-funded art, and we were just thinking, this is great. We'll just make stuff, and it goes back home when we're done. Get married under it. Oops. I'm afraid because I'm using this other program, it's making it larger than it can be. We made a wedding cake. Yes, there was a wedding cake this year, but we did it, and apparently someone else has done it in the past. Nothing's real. Like we did hearts before. Yeah, everyone does hearts. There's always hearts. This is not us, but it was another couple. We did a 3-layer wedding cake that we swear nearly killed us making it because we built a lot of it on playa. This is many of the many things I warn you about building stuff too much on the playa. It takes a long time. Then we came up with an idea. We wanted to make a goose. We made this one called Penny the Goose. And I was finally leaving Canada, and I had amassed a large collection of pennies from friends and family who were because we all had a lot of them. And it was the last time that pennies were available in Canada. So I was leaving Canada, and so was the penny. So we thought, let's make a Canada Goose with it.
So these are Canadian pennies?
These are all Canadian pennies. And so this is really we kind of thought, well, let's just make this one-dimensional sort of goose. And you probably see it in Lucerne, California. Lucerne, yeah. So this is the first version of it. And we thought, oh, we kind of onto something. Then that year, someone said to us, well, why don't you apply for Burning Man art grants? If you're going to make art, keep doing this. And we thought, you can apply for art grants? And I've been going since 2006, and I thought, well, only special people get them. So we thought, well, if regular folks can apply for them, maybe we should try. So in 2014, we applied for a grant. We did not get it. We were trying to create, this is, when I say some of these stories, these anecdotes, they might give you some hints about stuff. We were going to create a very large pig, and it was going to be made of mesh steel, and then it was going to be covered in a rubber fabric, and then we're going to do mind fuckery off it all the time. We would dress it up, then Daft Punk would play off the top of it one night, and then it would be stripped of all the rubber, and then we would burn money inside of it, and then we'd have barbecues of pork or else of bacon, and then we asked Burning Man, so what did we, when we got turned down, we thought, what did we do wrong? We said, well, let's look at this, so yeah, that burning paper, cooking food was just, they went projecting music off of it. It was too much, and I think we would have taken on way too much, and our heads would have exploded. I think we would have made the pig correctly, but it wouldn't have come together. So we thought, okay, let's try it again. And then there was a lady named Betty June Scarborough who was in charge of Burning Man Art at the time, and I'd met her, and she says, why don't you bring that goose back that you did? And I said, well, not much for repeat performances. She says, well, just think about it. Think if you can do something else and apply for a grant. So we applied for a small bit of money, and when we got the art grant, and then we made it two-sided and three-dimensional. We tore a lot of it apart. We put a new head on it. And we just thought, oh, if we put a little bit of time and effort into this, we can actually make something that's fun. People enjoyed it. It's people were loving the texture of the piece. Oh, hey, we were onto some. Oh, and unfortunately, again, this is. I'm not going to be able to make this one smaller. This was at a festival in Coloma that was called the American River Music Festival, and it was shown there afterwards. And now it sits in Lucerne. This is when we took it to this a temporary facility for a drug and alcohol rehab clinic, and a doctor there bought it because they had the Valley Fire there, and we thought, well, it'd be a nice gift to the town, and it'd be a beautiful piece to have. It still sits there to this day. It's one thing about burner art, you learn we experiment a lot with our art, and some things can go, no, that's wrong, but the glue we used starts to delaminate from the steel, so the pennies are kind of falling off. And then there were some people at the drug and alcohol clinic, there's a lot of meth problems in there, and they kind of took a hammer to it. So we're trying to actually buy it back and rebuild it in a different way. So that after that, I said, well, why don't we make something like a more textural, and let's take these pennies and stand them up rather than just lay them down like we did before, like experimentation. So we came up with this idea of a bear, and everyone kind of loves bears. So this is our first bear that went to Playa. It was, we called it Ursa Major. She reaches for the stars, which is the ambition of all of bears and humans. But everyone just said, hey, that's a penny bear, and it's waving at us. I guess it is. Yeah. So if the burner community will tell you what your art is when it gets out there. Lofty descriptions of your art. It doesn't always be that way. Yeah. She's worth touching, yes, for sure. And again, you guys, her head's cut off because of the size of this picture. But yeah, there's another one there. Darn it. This is where it sat. It's now in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it's currently it was bought by some burners, and we were kind of touched by another person wanted to buy art, and they said, well, they called themselves Mama and Papa Bear, so that was their thing, and so we were kind of sad when we sold it. I says, I really kind of wish that this bear that people and kids could like would maybe end up like on a native reserve or something where little kids in front of an elementary school can be at it all day long. And, because these rich people can buy stuff and that. But anyways, it turned out to be a good thing because we were approached by a Burning Man and the Smithsonian when they had the Smithsonian show in Washington, if we could have some art there. And this is a few years later, it ended up going to that show in Washington, D.C. And these people said, yeah, take it for 9 months. As long as you can get it out of here, we'll do it. And it ended up in Washington. This is on the streets of Washington, D.C. We're very proud of that. It was there for 9 months. We brought it back to Santa Fe, and everything's fine. It's still holding together, just fine. This weighs about 1.5 tons. The core of the piece is styrofoam, and there's a steel structure inside as well. And then not at all. We use concrete over the styrofoam and embed the coins into the concrete. Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a, Carefully. It's on its back, on the back of a trailer. Yeah. This one is a year after. This is Ursa Major, which we quite enjoyed. It's, we learned some new techniques. Here goes back to the whole thing. I'm trained as a cinematographer, photographer. I've never carved anything in my life. And we did that first bear. We had these styrofoam blocks. I went, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? What have I taken on? So it's like, well, there's nothing like a deadline to make people get stuff done for Burning. Okay, the curtain goes up, get it to Burning Man. So we figured some stuff out, and I actually got the confidence afterwards. So confidence to carve this one out. They wanted this one in Washington, D.C., but we could not get it to Washington because it stands just about